Women, let's get real. About these men you are laying down with, making babies, and they don't contribute emotionally or financially, but you still lay beside them every night. Many people keep making excuses for behavior that should have served as a warning sign from the beginning. Anyone can help make a child, but not everyone is built to protect, lead, provide, nurture, sacrifice, and stay consistent for a family. Some people keep trying to force potential into men who have already shown them exactly who they are. A man's real character does not show up in dating. It shows up in responsibility. It shows up when life gets uncomfortable, when money gets tight, when sacrifice is required, when children need stability, when loyalty requires discipline, when a family needs emotional safety. That's where the mask falls off. And some men, they never intended to carry responsibility in the first place. They wanted the benefits of family, without the accountability of family. And if you ignore the signs, you can end up emotionally drained, financially burdened, mentally exhausted, and raising children around instability that damages them for years. So today we're going deep, bold, serious, firm. Because some people need to stop romanticizing men who are emotionally irresponsible. Let's talk about the types of men who do not care for their kids or family and why you need to stay away. 1. The selfish man. This man lives for himself. Everything revolves around what he wants, what he feels, what he needs, what makes him comfortable. And the moment responsibility interferes with his freedom, he resents it. Children become stress, family becomes pressure, commitment becomes burdensome. This type of man often talks about freedom constantly, but what he really means is, I don't want accountability. He wants access without sacrifice. He wants the image of a family without the work of maintaining one. And selfish men make terrible fathers because children require selflessness. Kids need patience, presence, consistency, protection, financial discipline, emotional maturity. A selfish man eventually becomes irritated by all of that. And you'll notice something. He always has energy for what he wants. Friends, trips, entertainment, social media, women, hobbies, late nights. Plenty of energy, but suddenly exhausted when it's time to show up for his child. Pay attention to that, because priorities expose truth. Not words, not promises, not speeches, patterns. And selfish men leave emotional damage everywhere because they teach children inconsistency. 1 minute involved, next minute absent. 1 minute affectionate, next minute detached. That instability creates emotional confusion in children. Stay away from men who constantly center themselves while expecting everybody else to adjust around them. That is not leadership, that is immaturity. 2. The man who only loves his ego. Some men do not love their families. They love control. They love admiration. They love being seen as important. There's a difference. This type of man often wants children because children make him look established. Emotionally, though, he's disconnected. He performs fatherhood publicly, but privately lacks emotional presence. He wants praise for basic responsibilities. He thinks paying a bill once makes him father of the year. Meanwhile, the mother is exhausted. The home is unstable. The children feel emotionally unseen. This man sees family as an extension of his image. Not anything to nurture. Not something sacred. When his ego is bruised, the entire household suffers. Emotionally immature men punish their family when they don't feel admired enough. They withdraw, become cold, disappear emotionally, create tension, start arguments, cheat, manipulate, blame everybody else. Ego-driven men cannot handle accountability. Everything threatens their pride. Stay away from men who need constant validation but avoid responsibility. The family will eventually become emotionally starved while he remains obsessed with himself. 3. The man who abandons responsibility. This man disappears when life gets hard. This is a clear sign of a dangerous partner. Anyone can stay when things are easy, but the hard seasons reveal character. A man who abandons responsibility during difficulty will abandon you as well. Watch how he handles pressure. Does he run, shut down, disappear, blame everyone else, escape into distractions? They don't help. He is not engaging. He doesn't show care. This man does not lead. He doesn't support. Eventually, the burden falls onto everyone else. Children should never feel like they are unwanted inconveniences. But irresponsible men will create that atmosphere. Children absorb this disconnect deeply. People grow up their entire lives trying to recover from fathers who made them feel emotionally disposable. The damage is real. Stop ignoring the abandonment patterns. 4. The man addicted to chaos. Many men are deeply internally unstable. Instead of healing, they spread the instability into everyone around them. These men are addicted to drama, conflict, toxicity, confusion, impulsiveness. They create emotional chaos inside homes. One day calm, the next day explosive. 1 week committed, the next week reckless. Children need stability. Emotionally unstable men rob the home of peace. People sometimes confuse intensity with love. Chaos is not love. Constant emotional turmoil is not passion. A man who constantly creates destruction inside his household is dangerous emotionally. Children raised around chaos grow up anxious, walking on eggshells, hypervigilant, fearful, emotionally insecure. Unstable environments condition children to live in survival mode. A grown man who refuses healing but continues damaging others is not somebody you build with. Stay away. 5. The man who treats women as disposable. Pay attention to how a man speaks about women. It matters. Men who objectify women usually struggle to value family deeply. If every woman is replaceable to him, eventually commitment becomes replaceable too. Some men are addicted to novelty, attention, validation, conquest, and family life requires discipline. Those men do not have. Real family structure requires loyalty when nobody is clapping for you. It requires character when temptation is available. A man who constantly cycles through women often lacks the emotional depth necessary to sustain family responsibility. Many women ignore this, thinking, he'll change for me. Guess what? He will not. If he constantly leaves emotional wreckage behind him, why would you assume your situation will be different? A man who cannot value women properly usually struggles to value the emotional needs of his children as well. 6. The man who refuses to grow up. This man wants adult benefits with adolescent behavior. He avoids discipline, avoids structure, avoids sacrifice, avoids emotional growth, but still expects respect. The biggest mistakes people make is confusing age with maturity. A grown body does not equal a grown mind. Some men are physically adults but emotionally teenage boys. Family requires maturity. Children are depend on you. Bills are depending on you. Emotional stability is depending on you. Consistency is depending on you. Immature men resent responsibility because they still prioritize pleasure over purpose. Everything feels too serious to them. They avoid hard conversations, avoid planning, avoid accountability. Eventually, everyone around them becomes exhausted carrying what they refuse to carry. Stay away from men who laugh off serious responsibilities. That is not being carefree. That is being irresponsible. 7. The man who lacks empathy. This one is serious, because empathy is what helps people care about the emotional impact of their behavior. A man without empathy can watch people suffer and remain emotionally disconnected. He minimizes pain, dismisses feelings, invalidates emotional needs. Children raised around emotionally cold fathers often struggle deeply with self-worth. Children internalize neglect. They start believing, I must not matter. I must not be lovable. I must not be important. This wound will follow people into adulthood. Pay attention to men who never seem emotionally affected by hurting others. That is not strength, that is emotional dysfunction. Real strength protects people emotionally. It does not damage them carelessly. 8. The man who only shows up when it benefits him. This man is transactional. He appears when there's attention, recognition, convenience, image benefits. When real sacrifice is required, he is gone. This type of father may post photos online but rarely shows consistency in private. Children remember presence, not social media captions, not occasional gifts, not random appearances. Presence. Emotionally available fathers create security. Inconsistent fathers create confusion. Stop being impressed by occasional effort from men who repeatedly disappear. Why you should stay away? Because love alone cannot fix irresponsibility. Too many people stay attached to fantasy instead of reality. You cannot build peace with somebody addicted to chaos. You cannot build stability with someone allergic to responsibility. You cannot build emotional safety with someone emotionally immature. Children suffer the most when adults ignore red flags. Staying attached to dysfunction can cost years of emotional damage. Not just for you, but for your children too. A broken household is not only about yelling and fighting. Sometimes broken households look emotionally empty, neglectful, inconsistent, cold, chaotic, and children feel all of it. The final message is, stop listening only to what men say. Watch what they consistently do. A responsible man shows up, provides, protects, communicates, sacrifices, stays consistent, creates peace, values family, understands responsibility. Most importantly, he understands that children are not accessories. They are lives depending on him. Protect your children at all cost. See you in the next video.